All right, Mike. I think we're
Yo,
ready to
people
go.
hype about
What's that?
everybody hype about this, man.
Yeah, yeah, me
Friday
too, man.
night.
I'm real excited to have you here. It's a real cool moment. Can you hear me? All right?
Yep.
Yeah,
How am I? I'm good.
yeah. You sound good to me. Let me make sure with the people. Let us know if we sound all right, because I know I always do the tech. I'm the worst with the audio difficulties, man. Like halfway through the conversation, like Frank, we ain't heard a word he said. You know what I mean? It's funny, but I think we're in good shape. Somebody just let me know something. I think we're good. I think we're gonna be all right. So we're just gonna go ahead. But yeah, real cool timing with the piece that's going on right now, the auction. Um, I got a chance today to like look, watch an interview that you did earlier and like look into what your project is got going on. It's pretty cool. Um, why don't we go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and explain what's the project is that you have going on currently, and then we'll kind of go from there and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm Micah Johnson, artist, formerly a baseball player. Um, this project is my first photography work. Usually, I work in just straight oil on canvas, just with my hands. And I did this work in photography because I wanted to show other photographers and other digital creators the capabilities of the blockchain,
Mm-hmm.
providing that ownership of over their images, providing that authenticity over the images, just being that like kind of like leader for them to like, okay, look, this is possible. There's plenty of other photographers out there. They're way better than me, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That's their main source of income. So I'm just trying to be that person to just show them that this is how you get that real ownership of your image.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's pretty obvious this work is centered around today's Jacque's birthday. So he's 9 today.
Yep. Happy
Um,
birthday, Jock.
my man, my man going to the skate rink
All
as we
right.
speak.
All right. Nice.
So just trying to give them opportunity and access through Bitcoin. Everybody's seeing what Bitcoin is doing now. It's not
Mm,
going to stop. Imagine where it's going to be in 10 years, you know?
man.
So,
Yeah.
like, every little donation, I don't care how much it is, that's going to be worth X amount more. And it's decentralized. So there's no bank, you don't worry about none of that inflation, none of that. Like,
Yeah. The
that's,
wallet's the
big.
wallet, and so the Bitcoin goes there, and then it gets released at that time when he turns 18. Now, if anybody doesn't know what's going on, Micah's got a piece dedicated to the boys. Um, that has several layers, and essentially the um, the the astronaut represents, I believe, what the kids want to do, right? When they grow
Yeah,
up.
so astronaut is like a common theme throughout my work. It all started when I heard my nephew ask if astronauts could be black.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, so I'd use that astronaut as a symbol for unattainable dreams. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a kid to have these crazy dreams. I don't think you should ever stop dreaming. I don't care how
Right.
old you are. You should always have these lofty dreams
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, there's somebody that's done it before.
Right.
So if they did it, that means you can do it. So that astronaut's kind of like my symbol of like this crazy out there dream. And you can see it in a lot of my paintings. So that's kind of what will happen when they turn 18. That door, like tomorrow, you'll see that door is going to be opened up just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next 11 years, that door is going to open until it's face to face. They're face to face with that astronaut when they're 18 years old, like they're becoming their dreams
Yeah.
because of everybody's contributions and giving
Exactly.
them opportunity and access.
Yeah. And so as time goes along, you get to see the different levels of it. Now the kids have another birthday. There's another element of them behind the door on the other side. So just a really cool concept on how you can use blockchain and art in a certain way there. Like you really caught it there. That was real cool.
Yeah, just trying to like the blockchain. Okay, what you got on the most basic of levels. Why is the blockchain important? Like, why is that? Why do we have to use a blockchain? Like, so I said, okay, I really thought about that. Okay, because it's decentralized. Okay, so there's been historic. It's been well documented the oppressive nature of the financial system in the black community. Okay,
Right.
blockchain solves that.
Right.
Okay, and then true ownership of work,
Mm-hmm.
blockchain solves that.
Mm-hmm.
Programmable art, blockchain solves that. So all those things is like this work cannot live anywhere other than the blockchain. It's in my eyes, it's like the ultimate use case for a
Right.
blockchain.
Now, You had talked about in the interview that I watched that the company that you work with for art, and I'm really not versed in like the regular art world, so I don't know. But the company that you're working for, they're not necessarily like they don't understand blockchain that well, or they not necessarily sold, right?
Yeah, I mean, blockchain is one of those things where it's kind of confusing. It's like nuance right now, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do and why I did photography and not like digitize one of my paintings was photography is already a digital um, asset,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's palatable enough for them to understand.
Mm.
Um, so just trying to introduce them to, and Bitcoin's one of those things where everybody knows about Bitcoin at this point. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like a store of wealth. So just combining two things that are very palatable, just to help get it to the mainstream, like the mainstream art world, and like they're in with it. You know, like they helped me get into the Billboard in LA, right? They
Right.
helped
Right.
build, yeah. So like here you go, physical gallery, very well renowned, pitching this idea, and bam, like it set it off.
Yeah. 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 I think it's been like fun for me because I got a bunch of friends that I'm trying to like teach about blockchain and teach different things. We start with games. I don't know if you game at all, but there's a few different blockchain games, and so I'm teaching them through that because it's like, okay, we have these assets, we own them, we can sell them on the market, but then this is what blockchain is. This is what blockchain does as we go down the road. It's interesting teaching people, that learning curve is serious. Trying to get into blockchain like that.
Yeah.
And then understanding
Yeah,
once you get in, once understanding like the whole NFT part of it and all that, like that's a whole nother level.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like you got cats like Franky out here just like eating, and
Mm.
it's like it's no different than what's going on in the Pokemon trading cards, like sports trading cards, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
the way I would explain it to people is if you didn't get in on like baseball cards early on, like you're paying a high premium now, right?
mm.
This is still your chance to get in before it booms, and
Yeah, yeah,
like you're seeing it works now go for like six figures, like there's so many good projects too now, and like with what Dapper Labs is doing, with like making it very accessible with NBA Top Shot, like it's just a matter of
yeah,
time before the floodgates open.
yeah. And you can feel it coming. You can feel like because I think the NFTs kind of changes everything because it's like very in front of your face. Like this is digital ownership of this thing. You can kind of understand this thing. Like for me,
Right.
it was like gaming. It was like, okay, I can understand the in-game item. I pay money for that every year,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then it was like I can own it and then I can sell it. Oh man, that
Right.
was really the game changer for me as far as learning about NFTs. And then you go a little deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think how long will it take for NBA 2K to be able to
That's what I'm
you be
saying.
able to monetize like the stuff you wear at a park and stuff,
That's what I'm
like
saying.
that's
Well,
just a matter
the
of
thing was,
time.
I was thinking
Like,
about that too because then I play a lot of 2K, play a lot of Madden, and I'm like, you know, yeah, in the beginning they wouldn't take to it. They'd be like, nah, decentralized nature of our stuff, no way. Then after a while, when other companies do it, what are they gonna do? If there's another company that puts out a NBA game, right, and it's on the blockchain, and you can own all your assets, and then 2K starts losing, daily users.
yeah,
So,
it's like you either want to get with it now or you're gonna get left behind.
yeah,
Like now's the time,
yeah,
and that's why I put a lot of effort and like a lot of financial backing into this art project of mine because I wanted to move the space. Like
yeah.
I didn't, so like I had to invest my own money to like get the PR teams behind it, get like mainstream PR behind it, like
Mm-hmm.
so that they can really recognize the use cases for it. Because sometimes it is hard to understand, like early on when I would animate a painting, right? Like they're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what's the use of that? So like I had to like humble myself and say, okay, let me try to do something. I'm not a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to humble myself and like learn and think about the space more than I thought about myself with this work, right? Like,
Yeah.
what can I do? Because if I move the space forward with this work, with my connections, like with baseball and like in the physical world,
Mm-hmm.
then that's just only going to benefit me too. So if I move the space
Yeah.
and help others out, you know what I mean? Um,
I think a lot of
this
us
has
feel
been
that way, and that's that going back to that inclusive nature of like the NFT community. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
yeah,
like we're all out here like really trying to help each other help the space move forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever you can do, like my original like thing was music. I was like into music. I do music stuff, and then it was like when I started doing this stuff, it started being like it was way more important to do these interviews to get other people's personalities out, and just kind of like, I don't know, it was a lot more to do with the community, and it was almost nothing to do with me. Like, yeah, I like to do this and that, you know, but I'm good at this. I like doing the interview, so it worked out. Where it was like, all right, this is kind of what I can contribute here, that is less based on me and more based on what the community needs, you know.
Yeah, and stuff like this is so dope, man. Like, it's such a, like you said, inclusive space. Like, we can get on here and chop it up. Like
Right.
Josie, what Josie's doing, you know,
Right.
even Alegria doing what he's doing. Everybody's doing these things to like just amplify other people, right? And it's pretty dope. It's a space where people, like, everybody's welcome, man, which is such a rare thing in this world, right? Like,
Yeah, no.
like,
And it's crazy
anybody
because
can
we're all
come
from
on
all
here.
over the world. You know, I wake up at 4 in the morning, man, and it's like I'm talking to Maddie. Maddie's in Australia. I'm like, we're talking at 4 in the
Right.
morning about something, or Alegria was just up at 4 in the morning like me. So you know,
He is up for really, like, yeah, he up at all times, man. I
Yeah,
never
man.
like, I don't know what he does, man. He sleeps like with his, like, he sleeps awake, I think.
Yeah, we call it the Bustelo hour. It's like, you know, between 3 and 5. You know, you just get up the Bustelo, and you're up before everybody else. You know, it's blockchain time.
Yeah, blockchain time, man. That is exactly right.
For real.
Exactly right.
I wanted to talk a little bit about like how you grew up, because I know you referenced to that in a few interviews, and I know like kind of it seemed in a similar like vein as to kind of how I grew up. So I was interested in your upbringing.
Yeah, I mean, my upbringing, my parents, you know, both worked really hard to make sure we had everything. So like, they went, you gotta think, like, they went almost 18 years without having anything of their own, you know, like everything they make going back into us, right? Because playing baseball, I was playing at a high level all across the country since I was 13 years old. So like, that cost money.
Yeah.
And so, you know, my dad never had a car cost more than $500, like, ever. So like, he would run that $500 car down, get another $500 car, and that was just a vicious cycle, right? And so once I was able to make it to the major leagues, it was really cool to be able to like do things, you know, like,
yeah, absolutely.
And it's cool now to see them, like, they're flourishing now, and it's so cool because now they're independent, you know. So it's like really cool, you know. But like, growing up for like 18 years, it was like no heat in the car, like, sometimes the heater go out, like, no, like, milk, you're drinking dry milk, you know, like powdered milk, you know, like that shit.
Powdered milk, you brought that up. Yeah, man.
Yeah, like, that was terrible, but like, it taught me a lot of like what it means to sacrifice, and it's why I think I work at such a level nowadays. Like, today I got into the studio maybe like at 5 a.m., right? And then I'll work all day, and it's just because I know people invested in me for 18 years. So like, if I'm not working, then that's like disrespectful to them, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good mentality to keep, because you just always, but you know, it's also at some point it starts to just be your own self, like your own, like, I wouldn't feel right if I wasn't trying to get up and do something new every day and trying to push a new level, you know, the new envelope or whatever, you know. And it's crazy because out here in the NFT space, it really gives you somebody like me who didn't have all the resources. It gave me the resources, because it was like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
now,
man.
You know, we had a small enough community. You know, I can kind of go out and do this thing. It's not like I had to go apply to some company and you know, and set up a radio station or like that. It's like, you know, I figured it out with the homies, and now we're talking. You know, and
you're exactly right, man. And that's kind of what I wanted to show with this work. It was like, these boys aren't going to have to go get loans. They're not going to go do this, right? Like, you can just hop into the space, right? And just like hop in Discord, and you can reach anybody, you know, and they're going to help you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's mind blowing, man. Like, you're right. Like, there's no permission needed to do anything.
Yeah, it really is like that. And that's kind of how I took, you know, when I took the Decentraland, I'm like, okay, this is mine. You know, it's like that, like, real, this is mine for real. Like, I can just do anything here. All right, here we go. You know. And,
yeah, right.
It's been it's like a liberating feeling, you know, even if it's just a digital piece of, you know, space in the internet somewhere. It's something that's mine. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And I think once you like growing up, like if I would have had something that was just mine, right? You take pride in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even though I played baseball, I never had my own baseball bat.
I heard
Like
you
we couldn't
say
afford
that.
a
Yeah, that was
baseball bat,
crazy. Yeah.
right? So like I didn't have my first baseball bat until I went to college when I was sponsored by Adidas at that point,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or Louisville Slugger. So like for my whole life I didn't have a baseball bat. You know, like when I was little, like sure we had like a little bit, but like when I needed one, I just borrowed people's bats, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yo, how'd you guys play like baseball as a kid? I played mad baseball as a kid. I grew up in a Puerto Rican neighborhood, so I played mad baseball. How'd y'all play? Because I know we played like metal baseball bat, like tennis ball, and then we played in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like that's how we had pickle games. You know what I mean? Did you guys have
Yeah,
that, or were you
yeah.
like mainly like just organized baseball?
I mean, yeah, I was organized just because where I'm at, baseball wasn't big. It was all basketball. So
Yeah.
like everyone was playing basketball. So I was like the only kid that played baseball. You know,
Yeah,
like
so you had to find the
I just-
facilities and
like,
all that. Yeah. You know, I think you
Yeah.
get better when you play actually like that. But it was the emotion that was there when we were younger. It was a lot of fun. You know.
yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, my dad played a little ball, and then he coached boxing. So I like I said, I kind of felt what you were saying about just kind of sacrificing. He wasn't sacrificing for me; he's sacrificing for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that you know the low money whatever it was like because he's buying like boxing equipment, you know, setting up the gym and all that. But it's like a love of sports and a love of sports helps the kids. They have like less I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, their backgrounds is not the best, or their household's not the best. You can kind of like delve into sports and really kind of tune some of that out, and it's helped a lot of people, you know, along the way.
Yeah, you can have like that discipline as a coach. You can discipline the kids, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the right. That's what you get away with, right? So you can like kind of help shape the kid. It's like when the kid's in school, right? Teacher can help shape the kid, right? If maybe like they didn't have a dad growing up, or maybe like you know their mom's working all the time. So like sports is how they do that. But like the problem with sports is like, especially in that kind of community, kids feel like that's all they have. So like they don't ever feel like they have another option. So if that doesn't work out, they're not like, you know, 6'3"
Some
running.
coaches really, they don't treat the kids like, you know, they're like some, I don't know, especially in like the larger sports where you have larger teams, you know, some coaches really trying to get their W's, you know, so they're like, you know, they want the kid to be the best he can be for that team, not in life. You know what I'm saying? Right. I experienced that in high school, you know, with football. Not to say that coach he was a good dude, but it just wasn't my best interest in life to continue doing football. I'm 5'11", you know what I mean? Like 170 in high school, man. I'll get killed out there, you know? So it was funny. Right. It was like, nah, man, like it's not my best interest to be out here every day getting cracked by these guys, you know?
Right.
But you know, like, that's just the difference between the coaches, you know, really. Going back to
like,
oh my bad, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's why this whole thing with this work is like I want to give these kids options. Like being an athlete is really hard to do, especially at a really high level where you're making money.
Yeah.
Right. Like for a living, like that's like one of the more impossible things to do on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
especially
showing that
there's
other
options. Man. They say hitting the baseball is like one of the toughest things in sports, and you know, growing up doing it, I can tell you, man. Like,
yeah, so like just showing the other options, like you can make money, like you can make money like Pranksy, you can make money like Jim, right? Like you can make money in trading crypto, you can be a painter, you can be an artist. There's so many different things you can do, man.
Yeah, and then with all the people trying to establish things around here, if you know, get to know the right people and things like that, you can get yourself into something and, you know, go find yourself something to do, something to add to the community, you know. There's a ton of things right now. I've been trying to, you know, you try to tell people, but you're not trying to be that guy, you know, just yo, you gotta know about this, you need to do it, you know, it's the best thing. Nah, it's not, you know, I'm always like, you know, doing pretty good with this thing, you know, and, you know, I could show you around, you know, but I've learned to not do too much, man. Like, 'cause, you know, when you do too much, you're kind of overextending yourself, and at that point, it's just an extension of your own, like, the things that you want, you know. Like, I want this for you. Like, you don't know if that person wants that for themselves, you know.
Right. Yep.
Now, with that kind of on that same lines, like, how did you find crypto? Like, what was the first thing? Because I know there was like a aha moment for me, and it was long before I invested.
Yeah, for me, it was more of on looking at the, like in the investment side of it, and then I kept just like diving into it more and learned about crypto art. And it was at a time when like, I was retired and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I did art before, um, but one thing crypto art allowed me to do was like kind of like explore other mediums and like learn. Like everything is so accessible. So I was able to see other artists and other like things they were doing, like Hackatow. I was able to like take some things from them and like like their marketing strategies and like how they interact with people. So I take some of that. And then I see like Trevor Jones and like his techniques with oil and like how he's animating work. So I take some of that. And then I just see all these other artists, like, and it's so accessible.
Yeah.
So I kept on seeing all this. And eventually, like, I was just like, this is, because like in the physical art world, it's so hard to get that kind of access to.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So like here on a daily basis, I was just looking at Twitter and seeing different things they were doing. I was just like basically just like taking things from them, like learning,
just like adding to your style. You're gonna see it right now. I feel like we're in the middle of something right now that's gonna be. It'll go down when you go look back on it. Like I told somebody a while back, and this might be an exaggeration. It could not be an exaggeration, but when I think it was last year when I first started accumulating like a lot of NFTs, and I started saying like, man, feels like I'm mining Bitcoin in 2009, man. It feels crazy. It feels like we're on the verge of something that's so big and people don't even know yet, And it really does. It feels like, so grabbing what you're saying, kind of grabbing from these styles of these early, really pioneers, at the end of the day, it's going to be, I'm starting to notice this. I'm starting to notice the crypto art world is separating in style, and maybe not separating, but I don't know, kind of like establishing themselves in style different from the regular art world. So like not necessarily just in medium, but like the styles we use, the references we use, things like that. And I think that's gonna set it apart, and hopefully they can like run in like parallels and not necessarily have to like battle each other or like acclimate either.
Yeah. One thing I do think that's gonna happen though is you're starting to see like more mainstream people coming into the crypto space, more mainstream artists or musicians, like to physical artists, like starting to make that like introduction into the space. And I think once the floodgates open, like it's just gonna like you're gonna have to be on your A game at all times, right? Like you're not gonna be able like it's gonna separate itself. Like it's inevitable. It'd be good for the space, but at the same time, like you got to come with it every single time you drop something. So like for the last couple months, like I haven't dropped anything forever because the last couple months I was like, okay, I'm not good enough. I want to make sure when that wave comes that my shit is still at that level, right? So I took that step these months off, and like, sure, I could have been putting out stuff and collecting ETH, right, and all that, but I was like, nah, like I'm focused on the long term, and that's why I kind of settled on photography because I was like, like my Astronaut. So I'm planning on like that's gonna be my thing. This astronaut photography, like that's me.
That's what it is.
I'm not trying to do anything that's not me. Like I got my paintings, and they're selling great. Yeah. That's in the physical world, all that. But like I can't transfer that into digital. So what can I do digital? It's like the Astronaut.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's coming from your mind and using the whatever your kind of inspirations are, then it'll show out. And that's what I've kind of learned throughout like studying art and hip hop or whatever art forms that I've learned over the years. It's that like your personality is gonna show out if you're good enough at the art, like the craft of whatever art that you're doing now. Your personality is then gonna show out. So it should.
People are gonna really vibe with it. They're not gonna vibe if you put out something that's inauthentic, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Like. I know, like with this async work, right? Like it was authentic, and the bids reflect that, right? Like people vibe with it. So like we're already planning the next kind of like conceptual photographies. Like we're already planning it, but we're not going to rush it, right? It could be months before I release another thing, right? But every single thing has to be perfect, right? And authentic. So.
That's gonna be like that's like the definition of a true work. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting your your own thing, like how do you explain it, like your own essence into it. Because I know when I was doing music, same idea. You know, it was like I could do a lot of songs in like in a day or like one song in a week. It didn't matter. It just all kind of as long as it made sense. And that's all. Like my line constantly was always like, as long as it makes sense, man. Like I don't want to do it if it don't make sense. I don't want to do it if it sounds like I'm trying to do it to search for some sort of accolade,
Yeah. No, it has to make sense.
Because in the rap game, you get in the studio and you hear everything. You get in there, and they're like, man, we gotta make this song for the ladies. You gotta make this song for the da 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 da. And I'm like, listen, man, what are we talking about today? What did we do today? That's what we gonna make a song about. You know what I mean? Like that's to me, that's the way it is. I'm not really into making things up or directing my thoughts toward anything. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, makes plenty of sense.
Yeah. Hold on, because there's a couple things I've written down, and I'm glad I kind of. You had mentioned, and it was a metaphor. I can't remember how it was. You were talking about it exactly because I just wrote down the phrase, and I thought it was hilarious. You said Jay-Z couldn't put out a country album. I put money on that. Jay-Z could come out with a country album.
No chance, man. It'd be like it'd be exactly like what Lil Wayne did when he came out with that rock album thing, man.
I didn't even see how that was so bad. I didn't remember it even happened.
Yeah, it's like that's.
But Jay-Z put out a rock album too. He put out
though,
some sort of like rock thing with Mike Shinoda. Remember that?
Yeah. Like that's my thing. Is like if you want to be successful creatively, you have to sacrifice creative freedom. Like that's the end of the day. And I'm talking about successfully, like you want to be recognized, you want to make money, like you want to like thrive and be talked about amongst the other artists that are doing that, in institutions and in museums and like recognized. You're gonna have to sacrifice creative freedom. Like Jay-Z is Jay-Z because he came out with songs that his fans connect. Like, okay, this is Jay-Z, this is Jay-Z, this is Jay-Z. Right? Or like the baby right now. The baby when his song come on, okay, it's the baby, right? Like, and it sucks because you're creative and that's what got you there in the first place. But as soon as you start trying to do too much, you confuse people and the collectors aren't going to collect it or the audience isn't going to listen to it because
for sure,
yeah. Like what is this?
That's I mean, there's a truth there. I know what you're trying to say. I just thought it was funny. I was like, let me pick that out and see if we could just talk about that real quick. But no,
there's no chance that would sell. There's no chance that would sell.
I think. I mean, it would. I kind of like looking at it at this stage of his career. It's just like anything, because he's such a big conglomerate. Really, you know what I mean? During the time, like when I was younger and I was DJing and all that stuff, like man, come on, he couldn't do nothing but be himself. Otherwise, everything would have been questioned. Like with hip hop. Back then, like there wasn't the camera phone and all that, so it was like this. All your rumors had to be true, otherwise, you would lose credibility pretty right away.
Right.
But yeah, I was just kind of joking about that, but I thought it was a funny line. And yeah, I bet he could do that. Could he do anything? So another thing, real quick, is like you said, you kind of like after you retired from baseball, you kind of gambled on yourself with the art game, and I know that feeling because I did that same thing with this on what I'm doing now. But like, how big was that gamble, and how like stressful was that, man?
Well, it was stressful because like, look, I made good money playing baseball, right? So like, when I came out, like I'm chilling, right? Like, I could go years without doing anything. But the thing was, when I got out, I really had this idea I wanted to do, so I put that money into that, but it failed terribly, right? So I invested a lot of money into something and it failed terribly. So that whole plan of like chilling and figuring it out didn't really work out because I gambled on myself. But like I'm never going to stop gambling on myself, right? If I'm involved in it, I'm going to gamble on it. So it got stressful when then in the midst of like losing that money and on that investment, we're having my first daughter and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I've never made a resume in my life. I don't have a college degree. I've never had a job interview. So I got nothing, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I just kept going at art, man. I said, like, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make this work. I remember the feeling. I'll never forget it. Like every day, suffocating, like feeling of like I don't know what I can paint. I don't know what I'm painting. Like I don't have my style. I have nothing. But every day, I just kept grinding and grinding and grinding. And
showing up to it's like showing up to the gym. Like I kept showing up to the gym, you know. Like when I first
that's
started
it.
making music, it was the same thing. I wasn't even good really. I just was there, you know. And then over time, I got a lot better. And then whatever.
That's it, man. That's it. Like if you just do something every day, I don't care what it is. Like if you want to do algebra every day, you're gonna get good at algebra, right? Like
Be an amazing algebraist. Right?
yeah, like with art, I literally just did it every day, man. And that was it. Like did every day, and like so, like people see my success in the physical art world now. Like, oh my god, this dude came out of nowhere. Like he's doing all these like this press and all that, and that was like to happen like in July, but there was like years before that, right? Like years before that.
Nobody,
so, like,
nobody had asked about after your retirement, like, hey, where's Micah? Is he making art? Is he okay? Like, nobody's asking that question during that time, and that's what I'm saying. Like, during the times that people don't see you, because they see you, we all, like when you're in your best, you're like, you're showing, you're out. But like when they don't see you, they don't see that time that like when I was rapping, the whole rapping thing, right? Kind of started when I was older, man. I'm like old now, but I was older. I was older even when I started. I've been DJing for years. So I'm like back home where I'm at now, but in a way worse situation. So I'm walking to the studio every day. The studio got no insulation. It's winter. So we're like really grinding. This winter was so terrible, right? And then the next couple of years I'm on stages and whatever I'm doing, and I'm like, cool, it looked cool, but I'm like, y'all don't remember the days in below zero studio, no food,
right.
Like nothing, we're hungry, we're everything, And so I feel like all that stuff pays off to you. You're never gonna be able to share that with other people. That little piece.
No, like that girl knows what it was like. Like she remembers it was like it was so funny because like when I retired, I was just gone. You just boom, that's it. Like nobody's like, what is he doing? And then boom, all these guys, I played with, they see it now, like what I'm doing, and oh, I need this in my house. It's like, it's cool, man. It's
And I think cool that one of the things I took from when last time I heard you talk, because it was really the first time I heard you talk, I'd heard of you, and then it was like, man, you could really bring our this community into the front of the eyes of the right kind of people. Not to say that we got the wrong people here, we got all the right people here, but the mainstream public that could actually take it and run with it. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
We've been, I'm trying, man, but I'll tell you what, man, we're working on a project now that will bring the biggest names in sports and entertainment to the blockchain soon. And like, we've been working on this for a while.
That's beautiful.
And it's not hard to sell these people on it. Like, so that's kind of our main focus right now. Aside from art and all that, like,
just trying to take over the world, that's all.
No, man, we it's gonna be soon, man, and like the names we have are really cool names to have on the space, and like talking to them about it and like the benefits of being on chain, like it was no brainers to them, So like you're talking about the most famous people in the world, like, and it's like, yep, I get it now. And like a couple months ago, years ago, it would be hard to explain the importance of NFTs, but now, because of what everybody's doing in the space, like, and making it stronger and stronger, it's easy to just to say, like, yeah, like, check this out. Okay, that looks cool. You know what I mean?
Like, and that's kind of what I say, like, why I said that, like, why I felt like I was mining Bitcoin in '09, because I'm like, we got this thing that it feels like it should be a no-brainer. Like, last year I'm looking at NFTs, I'm like, this is crazy. Nobody knows about this, and I'm buying them all, And then, like, a year later, people started catching on, and then some people catch on, and then now you talk about that, like, somebody that could make a big move, now they're catching on and understanding and liking it. It's like these things happen quicker than you would think. Like, what do they call it? Collective consciousness. When the general public all of a sudden just knows. Boom! Now we all just know about TikTok or about whatever stupid thing.
And that's how this company's gonna be. Like, when we drop it, like, we've already shot a lot of things for it. Like, we already, like, when it drops, it's gonna be like the mainstream people are gonna have to come to it because the things we have on it are gonna be so like they're so sought after in the physical world, but they're bringing them on chain, right? So it's like when it hits, it's gonna be like bam, let's roll, right? Like, so that's what I'm really excited about, man. Like mad excited. Because I was pushing everybody like at the company, like we gotta go on chain, we gotta go on chain, we gotta go on chain. Like check this out, check this out. Every time someone's doing something, I was like, yo, look at this. So.
I think you got enough examples now too. We've had a pretty good couple months when it comes to, sales and attention and partnerships and I'm not just talking about the art world either, just the NFT world and all the different things that are happening, insurance and things like that. Talks of people putting deeds on chain and stuff like that. That stuff is it just brings another set of eyes over, like, oh, they're going to be doing real estate, or they already have digital land, stuff like that it's like when you plant that seed and then a couple times later the person looks at it again and says, oh yeah, oh look at all that, then usually it's a sale. Usually a person, like when I first looked at Decentraland, it was a sale that made me look in there. It wasn't like random, it was, Steve had said, I seen an interview with Steve and then looked at those guys are selling that stuff for a lot. Figure it out,
Yeah, which is so cool because I did an interview yesterday with NBC, and Metapurse had put on a bid for 175 ETH. So I'm literally like doing this interview with NBC talking about Metapurse and the bid he put, right?
Oh,
so,
okay.
So,
all right.
So now it's coming. Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, man.
You talking about the Metapurse thing on NBC?
Oh yeah. So I'm literally talking like on mainstream media about Metapurse dropping a bid, and it's like it was dope, man.
Yeah, the people were like, what on a digital who? It really if it's the first time you heard it, you can't wait till the second time you heard it. It's one of those things.
Yeah, like they got it though. Like it was like I explained Metapurse, like the whole mission behind Metapurse, like showed love. I was like, this is why they are trying to collect this. Like they're like dope, man. Like this is really dope. Yeah. So like just doing that, just like showing love to those people. Whenever I'm doing these interviews and stuff, it's just important to me. Like
definitely, no, it's definitely because it's not like one person is going to be the only person to win. That's like it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like a lot of people are going to come up during this time, and there's going to be big companies that come out of it for sure. But during this time, there's going to be a lot of opportunity here. And so I never see a reason to not say somebody's doing a great job doing this or whatever it may be. Like it's always
always show love, man. Always show love.
I don't know. Yeah, man. I don't want to hold you up much longer, man. I just wanted to kind of get a couple minutes with you. I really appreciate you coming by and talking with us, man. 100% always welcome to do whatever you'd like with us. We can always do drops. I'm doing a thing on Sunday with Clark Kent and Maddie. We're gonna be doing a Jose double drop, so we're gonna be like talking while people are doing the bidding. Completely welcome to do whatever, work with me in any kind of way or whatever it may be.
For sure, dog. I appreciate it.
Anything else you got coming up that you want to talk about real quick? Like upcoming things, anything like that?
On November 13th, we'll announce the winner of the commemorative NFT I did with the whale community on Josie's live stream. So whoever tipped, you still can tip until midnight since it's Quay's birthday. You got until midnight to tip, and we'll pick a winner to get that first one-on-one NFT to commemorate this.
That's what it is, man.
And then November 13th as well on that live stream, we'll accept the final bid on this async work and talk about the billboard that is going on and talk about what all that means.
Man, It's a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure talking to you, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get a chance to talk sometime soon, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you.